If you're going to talk about, okay, let's let bygones be bygones, well, we might be willing to do that, but it's not gone though. It hasn't gone by. The bygone that you want us to call bygone hasn't gone by. It's happening right now. Where's the change? This is what I'm asking. We always hear these atheists and Western, these Western civilizational, so-called civilizational supremacists and so on, talking about the great Enlightenment values and how religion, for example, is a source of so many wars and strife and so on. Can I introduce you to the history of Europe since the Enlightenment? Are you familiar with the 19th century? Are you familiar with the 20th century? Are you familiar with the fact that there's been over 200 military interventions just by the United States alone in the last 200 years? That's a military intervention for every single year over the last 200 years. And look at what you're doing right now. So tell me, where's the change? Maybe we would consider the option of letting bygones be bygones if it has gone by, but it's present right now. You're doing it right now. Just look around the world right now at what your countries are doing, at what America is doing, at what Europe is doing, at what the so-called Western civilization is doing in the global South, in Gaza right now, in the Middle East, Congo, in Africa, throughout Africa. Where was this so-called enlightenment? When is the past going to just be the past? Now just turn on your news right now and tell me how are you any different than your great-grandparents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your ancestors? Where is the evolution that you keep telling us about? Where is the enlightenment that you keep telling us about? Because from where we're sitting, you're doing exactly the same thing. You're acting the exact same way. You believe the exact same way. You have the exact same attitude. You have the exact same philosophy of the barbarians of your history. You haven't changed one bit. So, like I said, we could take it into consideration to let bygones be bygones. Just let us know at what point it's going to have gone by, because it's happening right now. When you tell them, well, look at the body count of the 20th century, they'll say, well, that's the technology. Okay, so you admit you've not changed. Your enlightenment didn't make you more moral. Yeah, their reasoning is if we, the West, if we had the same technology 400 years ago, then the body count would have been just as high as the body count of the 20th century. Okay, you just told me that you never changed. They say never again, and they say we've changed precisely so they can get away with doing it again while you're not looking. They say it specifically so that you can be assured that they won't do it, and the only reason they're saying it is because they have every intention of doing it again. They have every intention of never changing. That's exactly why they say, oh, never again. We're a changed man. We'll never do it again. Just so that you'll let your guard down and they can start doing it right away. Just like the School of the Americas, for example. We were just talking about it this morning on one of the lives. The School of the Americas, which was a torture school created in the United States to teach paramilitaries and dictators and torturers all throughout the global South that were puppets of the United States, teaching them the most heinous, disgusting, horrific torture techniques. Then this school got found out, and it got a lot of bad press. It got a lot of bad publicity. I assume that a lot of the people who are listening probably already know about it, but if you don't, you should. Then it was officially shut down in the year 2000, I believe. 2000. But it wasn't shut down. They just changed the name. That's all they did, was rebranded and changed the name. And they kept doing exactly what they've been doing already for decades. This is their pattern. This is their modus operandi. It's exactly like a sociopath or a psychopath. As long as they can get away with it, they'll do it. And as long as you give them the benefit of the doubt, they will abuse that benefit of the doubt, and they will keep committing the crimes that they've always committed. Which is, again, this isn't the topic of the conversation, the topic of the discussion, but this is exactly why we need to expel the United States from the United Nations. Because the only way that you can ever change their behavior is to hold them accountable. And the only reason that they've been able to get away with everything that they have been able to get away with is because they rigged that institution so that they could be above the law and never have accountability. Their hegemony is based exclusively upon their impunity. And the only way that you can ever get them to change their behavior is by depriving them of that impunity and holding them accountable.